Welcome to the last spell. In the last spell, you will die a lot. Better luck next time.
What up, my buttercups? The Last Spell is a tactical RPG with Rogue Lite mechanics, which is set to release on the 3rd of June 2021, and the game will first release as an early access on Steam. The story is about a cataclysmic event that happened after a bunch of mages cast a massive spell to end the war that was rampaging their lands. This spell destroyed almost everything and caused a strange purple mist to appear, and anyone that would dare to wander into the mist would go insane or get killed. This actually sounds a lot like the movie The Mist, just without the tentacles. Anyway, after the mist has appeared, there's one last bastion still standing, which is protected by a few strained heroes. This bastion has mages working hard to try and banish the mist from the land. But they are not able to do this without protection, as during nighttime massive waves of monsters come out of the mist to kill everyone, which gets kinda problematic. These monsters get harder and harder each wave, and different enemies have different behaviors. So there isn't that one trick that will kill them all. Now there is many enemies that have different strengths and different weaknesses. Based off of this, you can come up with different strategies to try and combat them. Because of all these monsters, you have to try your very best to keep your mages alive, as they are the last hope of getting rid of the mist. Their goal is to cast their last spell, which will hopefully destroy the mist and all the monsters that haunt it. This is why the game is called The Last Spell, by the way. I really like the grim setting and art style of the game. It reminds me a lot of the game Darkest Dungeon, which was also an amazing game. They both share the grim graphics and story, with mankind making its final stand, which I think is epic. Now usually I look at upcoming games and tell everything I know about it before I actually get to play it myself. But in this case I was already able to play this game, as there's both a prologue and a demo available, which is where some of the footage you are seeing is coming from. Now both the prologue and the demo have the same content, so if you want to try them out, just try one of the two. Both the demo and the prologue allow you to play for the first 5 in-game days. So from this I was able to get an even better understanding of the game. Although I couldn't see all of the game's features, as not all of it is available in the demo. In the game, each day is split into 3 phases. The first one being the deployment phase. Here you deploy defenses and your heroes to defend your city. During this phase it's pretty important to first check where the enemy is coming from, otherwise you might be screwed. If you've done that successfully, in phase 2 the enemies will start spawning and you have to kill them in order to win. And oh man, there's a lot of them. And even if only one enemy manages to get into your city, this will cause panic, which results in you getting less loot, making it even harder to survive. So you want to make sure you prepared yourself well in phase 1 so nobody can slip through. If you manage to survive the attack, then you go to the final phase of the day. In phase 3 you can salvage ruins, assign your limited workers to tasks, upgrade your heroes, or spend gold to make new buildings or upgrade existing ones. Building more houses can increase the worker limit, for example. You start with 3 randomly generated heroes to defend the last bastion of humanity against waves of monsters. These monsters come in massive waves during night, so during the day you have to do your best to build a good defense system so you have a fighting chance during night. This involves building walls to control where the enemy can walk, buildings to increase your material production, or mana wells that will regenerate your precious mana. Or maybe you just prioritize buying fancy gear for your heroes instead. It's all up to you guys, the player. As you play and survive, you will be able to upgrade your heroes in whatever way you want. You have all of the RPG elements that we know and love, like primary stats, secondary stats, perks, traits and more. With this you can make unique heroes, like a mage that has a gun, for example. This is because every hero can have 2 different weapons that you can swap between. And you can of course also get more than 3 heroes by buying more. You probably don't want to get too attached to your heroes, however, as this is a Rogue Lite. This game is pretty much setting you up to fail, but that is the way you learn to get better. Every time you fail you become wiser and stronger. At least I hope you do. On top of that, there is procedurally generated enemy waves, characters, weapons and unlockables, so you don't constantly have the same experience. If you still find the game easy, then there's also a different difficulty level, so you can make it as punishing as you want. Although I don't think that's necessary, as I got my ass kicked pretty easily. In the first wave one of my heroes already died, and in the second wave I was so screwed and I got wrecked. Once you have been defeated, which will inevitably happen, you can buy permanent upgrades from 2 mysterious deities. This is called the Requiem system. These upgrades can be bought in 2 different ways. You can offer the deities tainted essence, which you can get from killing monsters, or you can complete special objectives. With this system you'll be able to progress further and further into the game, so you will be dying a lot, which isn't really a bad thing in this game. I would almost say that it's kinda necessary to die a lot. because dying allows you to get these permanent upgrades like hero upgrades, skills and also upgrades for buildings, so that then the next playthrough gets even easier. Now all of the fighting is done in a turn-based fashion. In this game you don't have to get pissed because you misclicked however, because if you move to the wrong spot you can undo this movement, as long as you haven't attacked, that is. If you moved, then attacked and you still wanted to undo the movement, well, you're screwed. But I think this is a really nice touch, because you don't even want to know how many times I die in turn-based games because I misclick. This game has 3 different points during combat that you can use. One being move points that determine how many tiles you can walk. The second being action points, which is how much attacks you can do, which is usually more normal attacks. And then there is mana, which you use for very powerful attacks. Now all of these points easily regenerate except for mana points. Now mana only partially recharges after an attack, and if you want it to recharge more you have to make a specific building called a mana pool. So mana really is a resource in its own right, which also requires pretty good management to keep it up. Now this game is being made by the French developers Ishtar Games. They already seem to have other positive rated games, which is always nice to see. And the store page currently has no price listed, but I estimate that it will be around 30 euros or dollars depending what currency you use. Now don't flame me if I'm wrong, it's just an estimate. I think this game looks really promising and it was very fun to play. The game really made me want to try my hardest to survive, as I didn't want my heroes to die. And when I did die, it made me want to try harder the next time, to see how powerful I can get my heroes in time. I think that once you have the full game, that will have a lot of replayability, because then you also get access to the Eureklym system, which you don't get during the demo, which is the system where you can buy permanent upgrades after you die, if you guys forgot. Anyways, what do you guys think of this game? I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. And if there is another upcoming game you guys want me to make a video about, then let me know that as well. And if you liked the video, don't hesitate to like and subscribe and leave that sweet comment to tickle the algorithm. And as always, thanks for watching guys.